Hey guys, this is Conor with Conquest HP, and this post is about the mirror. It's that everyday object. You can probably see it dozens of times every day in the car, in the bathroom, at work, maybe your phone. It's part everyday object and it's part mystical doorway into self-reflection and kind of gauging what you see and what you think of yourself. So this post is going to discuss kind of how we can fall into using it by default and how we can use the mirror better to serve our needs and to guide us on the path rather than kind of corrupting us as we go. So this is the mirror, and if you'd prefer to read rather than listen, you can check out the links below to conquesthp.com and check out the article there. You climb out of bed first thing in the morning. The house is quiet. Your sight is blurry. Your mind is far from being fully awake. You shuffle quietly into the bathroom and turn on the light. Like everyone else, you have a mirror hanging in your bathroom. You see your reflection as the light brightens the room. If you had a high-speed, high-def camera trained on your face at that moment, what would you see? What expression or micro-expression would flit across your face? What emotions or attitudes would appear in that split second? The mirror isn't your enemy. It isn't anything. It simply reflects other things. In this case, it might show you the tip of the iceberg. It might give you some impression of your deeper thoughts about yourself. We train ourselves to live with mirrors. This entails looking into the mirror and using the mirror for utilitarian kind of purposes, but keeping it at arm's length. Try not to use it for any serious self-reflection or analysis. That's a can of worms you can't afford to open on a daily basis. Yet the mirror is there every day, offering you an invaluable opportunity. Dare to look into the reflection for more than a few seconds, and you're getting somewhere. Look with intention, and you're in for some interesting moments. In that early morning haze, before you, the house, and the world have woken up, you get your first impression for the day. The lingering fatigue shields you from that impression somewhat. Somewhere, deep down, you're aware of the full impression. You work hard to keep that impression deep down. Don't let it come to the surface. If you look into the mirror for too long, or with too much focus, you might realize there are a list of things you dislike. Most people have this list, whether they know it or not. You don't like your eyebrows. Your face isn't symmetrical. Your nose is too big. That's me right there. I've been there. And if the mirror is big enough to include your torso, make sure you have a place designated for you to dive for cover. The barrage of self-criticism might take you off your feet. Most of us don't like the way we look. How do I know? It's the business I'm in. Beyond my coaching and writing contributions, the health, fitness, supplement, and beauty industries are ludicrous in their scope. They're massive. Why? Because the market is there. And here. It has a home in all of us. Reflection on the physical part is easy. Look at your reflection for another few seconds, and the depth of the criticism opens the door to some real self-loathing, potentially. It's not so much that you're fatter than you'd like to be, or less muscular. It's what this state says about you that you truly despise. Consider your shape for a second longer, and you'll realize it's a reflection on what you perceive to be your work ethic, your values, your ability to love yourself and appreciate your body, your mind, the life you've been given. You'll realize that the shape of your belly seems like a strong indicator of how much you care about yourself. It's a reflection of your priorities, your personal history, and a long list of moments of both neglect and failure. This isn't the reflection you want, and you know that. You know it so well that you refuse to look into the mirror with the intention to see this truth. You use the mirror to comb your hair or apply your makeup, then you get away. You try to enhance what you can in the moment, appearance-wise, then you get the hell out of Dodge before you can deeply analyze what you don't like. Even the narcissist and closet narcissist feels this way. Even those that are truly obsessed with themselves, daring to stare into the mirror for longer, or dare I say the selfie camera, see a long list of bits and pieces to be insecure about. It's early in the morning. It's still dark out and you're half asleep. Good thing. It's easier to push these thoughts beneath the surface of conscious awareness. As good as you may be at pushing the thoughts away, they have to go somewhere. Many of us live with these thoughts, impressions, and feelings. They inform our daily routine, our self-talk, our behavior. Hell, they even influence what we do to change the reflection. They influence everything from their deep, dark corner of the mind. We don't see these thoughts in front of us. They're not there in our conscious awareness. They don't sit on our desk at work, but they're always there, whispering softly enough to poison the well without discoloring it. You end up reaching for a chocolate bar at 4 p.m. You know you don't need it. You know you'll regret it in 5 minutes. You'll feel guilty. You'll hate that you ate the chocolate bar. You hate that you had to eat the chocolate bar. You'd give anything to go back in time and take it back, or to have the strength to resist the chocolate bar in the first place. This chocolate bar becomes the latest addition to an obnoxiously long list of failures. The same list that threatens to come to the surface each morning. The failure dampens your morale. You realize you aren't acting in your own best interests, and it hurts. You end up skipping the gym that night. You just don't feel like the kind of person that goes to the gym. It's so hard to care for yourself when you spent all day revealing that you don't care. The cycle repeats and deepens, moment of failure after moment of failure, pound after pound. The whispers continue. The whispers become more numerous. The whispers gain more ammunition day after day. You're too heavy. Your shirt doesn't fit right anymore. You won't be able to resist that bag of chips today. You're too weak. This is the barrage we face each morning. Before the conscious guards are awake, some punches slip through. You avoid the full barrage, but you know it's in there. This is the way many of us live. We live with the knowledge, as deep as we may have buried it, that we aren't who we want to be, what we need to be. You don't need a mirror to tell you. Your life is a constant stream of reminders of who you are. Hearing your name will give you that flash. Opening your Facebook page. Any moment allowing you to reflect on who you are can start the whispers anew. These are all metaphorical mirrors. We don't have to live this way. It's a game of cat and mouse, but in this game you're both predator and prey. There's no true escape, no rest. The whole thing crushes you 1 gram at a time, slowly eroding your resolve and willpower. The mirror can be your best friend, like a true best friend, the one that doesn't let you get away with any bullshit, the one that isn't afraid to hurt your feelings by telling you something you need to hear. The mirror can be your mentor, your coach, your motivational speaker, and your journal. Each time you look into the mirror, the reflective surface is ready to provide you with a list. Your list is catered for you, by you. It's your list. It's a list of things that are subtly eroding your happiness. It's a list of reasons you don't chase what you find fulfilling. It's a list of things you don't like. Some things you can change, and others you can simply accept. You might even have a small list of things you do like. What other surface can provide you with this kind of relentless, hard-hitting feedback? Like most sources of pain or discomfort, the mirror can become the boogeyman. You realize it can hurt you, so you're careful with it. Like most sources of pain or discomfort, it can provide an actionable list of steps to take, steps that will remove the likelihood of pain and discomfort. You have this simple, cheap surface in your house, your car, the gym. This surface asks you the same question every day. Are you going to face facts, or are you going to be a coward again today? Don't get mad at me, and don't get mad at the mirror. If you live with a list of things you don't like, and you survive only by pushing this list out of sight, what does that make you? If you know what you desperately need to change, but you cover up the action steps with the comfort of a chocolate bar, what are you? I'm a coward all the time, and I have no trouble admitting it. I'm probably a coward more frequently than almost anyone. I intentionally ask more of myself. I know I want to be stronger. I know I want to be healthier. I know I want to lift more and live more. I know I want these things, and I'm terrified of what they require of me. Each of these moments of cowardice and fear is an opportunity. It's a chance for me to overcome the resistance that might prevent me from getting where I want to go. Being the coward, even momentarily, allows me to see what needs to be done and find the strength to fucking do it. Steven Pressfield discusses the tale of two lives in his book, The War of Art. I highly recommend the book if you haven't checked that out. That's The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. The life we live and the unlived life. The life we have and the life we know we could have. The life we know we should have. The life we accept or the life we dream about chasing. The brief moment of distaste the mirror brings you each morning is a call to action. It's something inside of you screaming for attention. It's a desperate call in a familiar voice. Choose to live the unlived life today. Choose to face this list, the fears and the boogeyman, and choose to live the way you know you want to live. Take a moment. If any of the above sounds familiar to you, if you know the thoughts, feelings, and insecurities all too well, you need a moment. Take a moment to feel the heartbreak for yourself. The heartbreak that you haven't let yourself feel. The heartbreak that until now was just another item on the list, another item, another thing you didn't like about yourself. It's sad, isn't it? Tragic. To see your reflection and to know for a millisecond that you disapprove of what you see, to know that this disapproval is actually years in the making, a long list of moments in which you let yourself down, didn't show up for yourself, and moments for which you now feel ashamed. The fact that these moments and thoughts exist isn't tragic. Not at all. You can't be human without fucking up constantly. The fact that every morning you wake up and choose to live with these moments is tragic. There's nothing more tragic. Accept the reality that you keep adding to the dog pile. Maybe the most tragic aspect is that there is another choice. It's tragic when lightning strikes with dire consequences. It's more tragic when that lightning bolt could have been avoided and wasn't. It's more tragic when you routinely call down the lightning yourself. Your list is there. It's ready for you. It's built for you, by you. It's the most specific, close to home list you're ever going to find. It's yours, whether you currently own it or not. You have the choice to live with the boogeyman every day, or you can face him and slap his goofy ass across the room. Some items on the list can be acted on immediately. You're carrying too much fat? How long would it take you to come up with a list of 3 dietary behaviors you engage in every day that could change that fact? Your list of behaviors to change probably took less time to figure out than that sentence took to read. Some items require a long-term plan. Your eating behavior is an elaborate system of self-sabotage. How do you fix that long-term? What does life look like without this self-sabotage, and how do you get there? Some items require a painful wake-up call. You know what you're doing wrong. You know how to fix it. You're just not doing it. Smarten up. What do you really care about? Some items require acceptance. Chances are your big nose and my big nose will remain a big nose for the foreseeable future. Is it better to live with hatred of your nose or to accept its bigness and embrace it? Acceptance will free up much needed energy and morale for things you actually can change. Some items on the list, many of them, will require compassion and forgiveness. You messed up lots of times. You can point fingers at as many people as you'd like, but this is your body, your mind, your life. Ultimately, you conducted the train that got you here. You messed up, and you can learn from those mistakes. Those mistakes can be the best things that ever happened to you, but not if you let them emotionally cripple you all the time. You're allowed to mess up. Will you mess up less if you start each day by beating yourself up? No. Lighten up. Remove this burden from yourself so you can accept more useful burdens. Let it go. The deeper I've gotten into fitness and osteopathy, the more I've realized that methods are trivial. You can get in shape doing push-ups or running or doing CrossFit or powerlifting. Lots of different paths will work, some better than others. Methods are trivial the way that knowledge of self, honesty with yourself, and a vision are profound. The more work I do, the more I realize that so many of us are hiding from the pain and hurt these insights would bring. Ironically, this hiding only creates more pain. The mirror is a real bastard. Very seldom will it lie to you in positive terms. It's not likely to pump your tires with excessive compliments and positive reinforcements. Not even for those narcissists out there. It's more likely that it'll exaggerate the negatives already lingering beneath the surface. This makes the mirror a friend. A horrific and pain-inducing friend, sure, but a friend nonetheless. The toughest kind of love you can find will come from within. This is the opportunity the mirror presents you with. So many struggles in health and fitness aren't methodological problems. I bet you'd know what you need to do if you had the guts to actually analyze the problem. You'd know what to do. You'd know how to do it. You just need to face the problem. Don't look away. Don't stuff it down. Face it and give yourself a chance to overcome your own cowardice. It's easy to struggle with motivation. It's easy to lose access to the start button, the button that gets you moving. It's even easier to lose it when we hide the thing on ourselves. We might not need motivation. We might not need some special or profound moment to spur us to action. We may simply need to stop. Stop hiding from our insecurities, problems, and stop pretending like we're incapable. If you're afraid you might fail, why do you think that? Why do you think you're incapable? You're a living, breathing miracle. There's nothing else on this planet like an adult human being. We're marvelous things. We're complex beyond comprehension. We're actively involved in programming this complexity all day, every day. Who says you can't change that behavior? Who says you can't get to that PR? Who can be trusted if they tell you outright that you don't have the capacity? What do they know about you? What do you know about you? We're born without knowing our own limitations. The more time passes, the more limitations we impose on ourselves. If we could take that list of limitations back to zero, who knows what you could do? Over time, the mirror can become a reminder. It can remind you of the hard gym sessions you put in. It can remind you of the many good choices you've made. It can remind you of the countless expressions of brutal honesty with yourself. It can remind you of your own strength as you fight tooth and nail for change. It can remind you that you care about yourself and that you're willing to act on that care. If you were wondering when the best time to get started was, you have your answer. Give yourself an intensive mirror session and see what comes out. Whatever demons you face, and know that they can become the impetus for change. They can become the guides you need to change your life forever. There have been more than a few cases in which I've been asked about my coaching, and I've had to push someone away. It's not that I couldn't coach them towards their goals. The issue? I didn't think these people were ready for what I do as a coach. I'll give you and anyone else a complete training and nutrition program. I can create a program with the best of them. I love the organization of training variables and setting up a diet, for that matter. What I won't do is pretend that the issue is the program. A good program outperforms a good program is outperformed by a better program. Sure. Any program will fail if you're constantly lying to yourself, sabotaging yourself, and if you continue to dogpile that pain you see in the mirror. I'm not interested in giving you sets and reps if I know that's not what you need. If you're not showing up for yourself, that's problem number 1, 2, and 3. Nothing else matters until you handle that. If your mirror gets you started on the path, great. If you realize you need help with your list, with asking the right questions and finding the right answers, fill out the online training form on my site. If you're ready to do what you need to do to make permanent change, I'm happy to help you lay out the steps and take them one at a time. In any case, those steps need to be taken in order to live your unlived life. The mirror will always be there. So that's the end of the article there, guys. It's crazy that we live with these things, the mirrors, all day, every day. I probably see our reflection hundreds of times a day, if not more. And we're always getting these micro impressions from the mirror. We're always getting these little reads on ourselves, judging ourselves, criticizing ourselves, checking ourselves out maybe. Or there's a flex in there somewhere. But how often do we actually take the time to look at that reflection and to kind of analyze that feedback we're getting? You know, there's really valuable feedback there. And I think part of the reason that most of us don't spend the time to look in the mirror and really analyze what we're seeing, what we're feeling, what we're thinking, is we're afraid. We're afraid of what that feedback would tell us. And that's not to say that it's going to be unfairly negative, but rather that it is going to bring some pain. We're going to have to come face to face. Ooh, look at that. There's a fun pun there. We're going to have to come face to face with the fact that there are things we don't like, that we played a role in those things we don't like, and that we could at any moment choose to change the things that we don't like. And knowing all of those things and knowing that you're not currently making those changes, that's kind of painful. But just like anything else, the more pain is on the table, the other side of that coin is empowerment. And if we can kind of face up to that painful feedback and really analyze what we're seeing and feeling and thinking in that situation with this reflection, we stand to gain a lot of personal power out of it. It's going to give us this list, this actionable list of things that are really holding us back and that are really getting in the way of us living the way we want to live. That in and of itself is invaluable, because you'll know exactly what you want to change. But apart from having a list, like we'll have tangible feedback on kind of how we got to this point, and we'll know, because we weren't always at this point, that there's something that we can do to change it, and that's pretty empowering stuff. So the next time you see your mirror, maybe you're listening to this at night and you won't see it till tomorrow morning. It doesn't have to be right away. It doesn't have to be that first impression you see after this. But at some point, take a little time to take a closer look. And don't take a closer look to make sure your shirt is tucked in, or to see how that shirt is fitting around your stomach, and just the surface stuff like that. You don't need that stuff. You do that stuff all the time, fixing your hair, whatever it might be. You do that stuff all the time, using the mirror for the utilitarian things. Take a little time and take in what you see in the mirror, and use some introspection. Try to analyze what feelings are coming up as you're doing that analysis, and try to see what thoughts come up, and try not to filter them. Filter them as little as possible. And if you're getting some feedback saying, I really don't like that, this bothers me, I'm not confident because of this, I really wish this was different, just don't get emotional about it right away. Don't take any of it personally. Often it's your voice after all, right? Just make note of these things. This is great feedback. And if you can, take the time to write them out, stash that list away somewhere, and come back to it later when you can approach it with a cool head in a quiet moment on your own. And really analyze if these things are worth acting on or not. Some of them you might look at, and if you're a little, if you're a little removed a little later, then you can take the time to look at them and just think, I actually don't care about that. That's not important to me. I really don't give a shit how that shirt fits. That's not a big deal. But some of them it could even be that same one. Some of them you might look at and think, you know what? I am self-conscious about the way my clothes fit every single day. Every time I walk into the office, every time I get out of my car, every time my family sees me, all of it. And I'm living with these feelings every day, and it's really compromising my confidence in myself and the way I live my life. And if you can find anything like that, oh man, that's invaluable. If that doesn't get you into the proper gear to start making some changes, I don't know what will. So use this tool that we have around us all day, every day. Maybe use it as it was originally intended to be used, for a little deeper reflection rather than just fixing your hair and using it to brush your teeth. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, this was The Mirror. Check out the link below if you want to read this on conquesthp.com. And I will talk to you guys again very soon.